Goswami Maharaj. Okay, so Guru Maharaj's summary introduction. Despite thousands of personal defects, a devotee can never check his desire for the Lord's service. Upalabdha swadosha sahasrasyapi. Sahasra means lots. Touch charanam pancharya lobhopi avaryamanaha. Upalabdha swadosha dosa sahasrayapi. Despite thousands of personal defects, a devotee can never check the desire for the Lord's service. It has charana there, so something about the feet, serving the feet of the Lord. Then Dronacharya's shloka, uncultured, mean, fickle-minded, envious, ungrateful, proud, subservient to lust, deceitful, hard-hearted, and sinful I am. O Lord, how will I ever be able to cross this insurmountable ocean of misery and attain the service of your lotus feet? Sri Jamunacharya. So it's interesting how Srila Guru Maharaj has kind of brought out a concluding understanding from what Sri Jamunacharya has said. Jamunacharya is lamenting all his defects, but yet Guru Maharaj sees that Sri Jamunacharya has done so much service in the line of Vaishnavism, Sri Vaishnavism, and as a result of that, Guru Maharaj says a devotee can never check his desire for the Lord's service in spite of thousands of defects, of which Jamunacharya lists a few, which resonate to our own fallen position, that we have. We're really deeply bound by the illusory energy, but at the same time, we have had contact with reality, with someone who's living in reality, and someone who has touched us, touched our hearts, and that we have faith that touch it has such power that it will overcome whatever defects we're trapped with. This is our faith, our belief, and simultaneously here, Guru Maharaj tells us this is how it is. The devotee can't, once you contact it, you're not going to be able to stop it. You may be able to divert yourself for a while, but ultimately it's unstoppable. And this was the vision of Srila Govinda Maharaj, no doubt. He on different occasions indicated to us that, we will be delivered. It's already, in place. It's just up to us as to, how soon it's going to happen. So this is the grace and the power of the pure Vaishnava, which, Srila Guru Maharaj here is reflecting. So I'll try the Sanskrit. Jamunacharya's Sanskrit is pretty complicated, but I'll try it. Amarya da kshudras chalamatir asuya prasavabuhu kritagno durmani smara paravaso vachana paraha nasangsha papisha katam aham ito dukkha jala der aparad utirnas tava parichareyam charanayo. So there, charanaya. So Guru Maharaj also indicates charana, the lotus feet. You can't stop from taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord because of the power and the greatness of the pure Vaishnavas. Fitting. Jai Srila Gurudev. Okay, we'll read one more. By the blessing of Srila Guru Maharaj. And again, Sri Jamunacharya. This is number 14. Surrender in humility, Karpanyam, Prapana Jivanamritam, life nectar of the surrendered souls. Prapanasya Prapati Samanya Kripayam Api Nirjayogata Pratitihi. Although the Lord is naturally gracious upon the surrendered soul, the surrendered soul considers himself unfit to receive that grace. So it's like everything that we deal with in our progressive devotional life. There's the Beda that pervades everything. So simultaneously, the devotee has faith that the Lord is naturally gracious, but at the same time considers himself unfit to receive that grace. So, both things are happening within the within the consciousness of the pure Vaishnava. Here Guru Maharaj is emphasizing the devotee feels totally unfit. But at the same time, we understand from just the progress of this book that the devotee has faith that the Lord will protect him. Rakshashyati, what's the second part? Vishvasa. Rakshashyati Vishvasa. Okay, that the Lord will protect. So let's see what Jamunacharya has to say. O Lord, one who keeps your pledge in mind and wholly surrenders unto you, declaring, I am yours alone, is a fit recipient for your grace. It is only I who am not included. Is it only I who am not included in your promise? Sri Jamunacharya. So Jamunacharya, the great Acharya, we don't know much about him, but he's great enough to be repeatedly quoted by Srila Guru Maharaj in his magnum opus, his greatest. Well, it's hard to classify for us, but it's a fantastic, great work of Srila Guru Maharaj, and Jamunacharya is there in so many places, so we can understand from Guru Maharaj's respectful usage of Jamunacharya's slokas that Jamunacharya is in a very high position, but yet he's feeling, we know that everybody's going to be saved, but what's going to happen to me? I'm like, stuck in illusion. And, Jamunacharya is feeling that and thinking like that. So, and knowing everyone else will be saved, but at the same time, actively presenting his realization of the position of the Lord and the relationship that we all have to Him eternally. He was, obviously a preacher who connected with Srila Ramanujacharya. Okay, so the Sanskrit. Nanu prayatna sakrid eva nata tavaham asmati cha yachamanaha tavanu kam pyasmar Smarata Patigyam Mud Eka Vajram King Idam Vritante Sri Jamuna Charja. So I am yours alone. This is what the surrendered soul declares. This is what Jamunacharya is saying. And he also says that, but he's concluding with, I'm not included. Somehow or other, the devotee, simultaneously has a feeling of being lost and without anything, and yet simultaneously feels that the Lord will finally help him somehow or other. That protection will be there, and the grace will come. But Jamunacharya here is expressing that side of the feeling of the Vaishnava, that our position is, like Tyagi Maharaj was talking about in distinction to the Nimbarka Sampradaya, that our conclusion is that the position of the jiva is one of emptiness. It's like the eternal position, and as opposed to a vision of constantly being in contact with the Lord. We're constantly dependent, constantly in the position to be out of contact with the Lord, and it's just that's just the nature of our existence. It's not fixed. It's not in any kind of position of power. It really is an eternal position of helplessness. And once we can begin to get into that position, it becomes something that's can be very real for us. But it takes chipping away at the ego, which is what we have to do. And in the meantime, dealing with the feelings that come to us that we're just really hopeless, but in that feeling, always remembering that our Guru will always be there for us. We just have to remember to pray in our different difficult circumstances, to go to the shelter of that personality who has given us our life. The life that we have is a life gifted by our beloved Gurudev. So we have to remember just to take shelter of him and try our best in spite of our limitations, and we will be delivered by the Lord, even if we feel like we'll never be delivered. It's the paradox of devotional life. Okay, Shri Shri Prabhupada Jivanamritam Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Any comment, Dini? Okay. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charja Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavinda. Okay, so we just read the Mayavadi sannyasis are seeing the effulgence of Mahaprabhu, and they're kind of they're agreeing on that and saying this is Narayan, but simultaneously they're believing in their philosophy that ultimately all the living beings are Narayan, and even the derelict in the street is Narayan. They call Daridra Narayan, poor Narayan, which is in itself is like exposes the inherent contradiction in their philosophy. That if we're Narayan, as described in all the Upanishads, all the Vedas, as being untouched by the material energy, yet here we are touched. And the only answer that they have to that is, well, it's all illusion. It's actually nothing. We're thinking there's something, but it's really nothing. And, the simple fact is that, it is real. We are in this world. And our perception of that, of the world, and the feeling of our being is affirmation of the fact that we are really here. We suffer, we feel happiness, we feel pleasure, we feel all these different things that are coming in different directions in the material world. But simultaneously, in the human form of life, we have the capacity to begin to perceive that behind all these, experiences of the temporary world, there's something real. And we have to look for that reality and try to, within our devotional life, try to find that plane of devotional feeling and devotional relationship, and develop that, and that will help us amongst our God brothers and God sisters. Okay, so seeing you. Okay. So, dear sir, by your influence, text 105, Adi Lila, chapter 7. Dear sir, by your influence, our minds are greatly satisfied, and we believe that your words will never be unreasonable. Therefore, you can speak on Vedanta Sutra. Tomara pravave sabara anandite mana, kabu asangata nahe tomara vachana. Tomara, so you speak, tomara vachana. And your influence on everyone is anandita, makes the anandita mana, makes the mind joyful, and therefore, the feeling conveyed by the presence of Mahaprabhu brings them to the conclusion that, whatever he says is going to be correct on Vedanta Sutra. And of course, Mahaprabhu is going to shock them by presenting the actual understanding of Vedanta Sutra that they've been unable to bring out due to their, acceptance of the false analysis given by Shankaracharya. So Prabhupada says these Mayavadi philosophers were unfortunate to meet this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Unless one associates with a pure devotee, he cannot be influenced to understand devotional service. So, Tomara Prabhave, the influence of Mahaprabhu. Text 106. The Lord said, Vedanta philosophy consists of words spoken by the Supreme Personality of Narayan in the form of Vyasadeva. Prabhu kahe Vedanta Sutra Ishvara Vachana Vyasa Rupe Koila Yaha Sri Narayana. So this is spoken by Narayan. So Prabhupada goes into a gigantic purport about the basis of Vedanta Sutra and the statement of the different Puranas about Vedanta Sutra, known by different names: Brahma Sutra, Vyasa Sutra, Badarayana Sutra, Uttaramimamsa Vedanta Darshana. And then there's 4 chapters which he lists in the Vedanta Sutra, each covering different aspects of the Absolute. I know that in the study of Vedanta Sutra, the Mayavadis say that Shankaracharya's analysis is the first, and therefore it must be the truth, it must be the best. But we know in answer to his analysis, there are so many, well, there's 5 primary analysis by Vaishnavas, countering his position of Brahmavad, monism, with the understanding of theism, the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as absolute, and the position of the living being as eternally his servant. But in history, even now, the scholars are understanding that before Shankaracharya, Vedanta Sutra, of course, was there. And there were many analyses that are mentioned in historical texts. And those analyses, almost all of them, were in the line of Beda Abeda. Not Achintya Beda Abeda, but in the line of Beda Abeda, where there's oneness but difference. And so Vedanta Sutra can't be said to have been originally like a monistic type text, but actually it originally was a theistic text, and it just got distorted by the analysis of Shankaracharya. Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra Padais Chaiva Hetumabhir Vinishchitaha. Understanding of the ultimate goal of life is ascertained in the Brahma Sutra by legitimate logic and argument concerning cause and effect. Vedanta Sutra is known as Nyaya Prasthana, the Upanishads are known as Shruti Prasthana, and the Gita, Mahabharata, and Puranas are known as Smriti Prasthana. So he talks about the Pancharatra analysis, touching on Vedanta Sutra. Sambandha Jnana, Abhideya Jnana, and Prayojana Jnana are contained within Vedanta Sutra. And he concludes that Shankaracharya, even though he did the analysis of Shariak Bhashya, impersonalism, without devotional service, in his final days, he indicated that actually Govinda was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his foolish followers should take shelter of him. Vajagovinda, Vajagovinda, Mudamate. Do you know any more of it? What is it?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Shankaracharya finally says, worship Govinda, you fools. Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhar Ju Ki Jai. Okay, text 107. The material defects of mistakes, illusions, cheating, and sensory inefficiency do not exist in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. No conch shell? Maybe later, huh?
Maybe. I didn't want to start.
Oh, well, I can stop for a minute. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhar Ju Jai. Okay. Brahma Pramada Vipralipsa Karana Patava Ishvara Vakye Nahi Dosha E Sabha. The material defects of mistakes, illusion, cheating, and sensory inefficiency do not exist in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the four inherent problems in the basic idea that through material perception we can understand. Seeing things and then trying to figure it out with our mind based on what our sensory perception is just doesn't work. It can't work because of these four things. We're constantly plagued by these inefficiencies. We always make mistakes. We always have some kind of illusion about what we're seeing. And not only that, but based on our own personal motivation that's driven by the ego, we tend to cheat. And then, of course, the senses themselves are so limited, as we know by the presence of dog whistles and so many things like that. There are things that are happening all around us that are imperceptible to our current senses. So they want to draw conclusions based on all these limitations because they want to say that there's nothing else. But Srila Prabhupada tells us, the Bhagavad Gita says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. This is understood by the saintly kings in the line of disciplic succession, and it was heard, it was passed down by parampara praptam. And we have to hear not from a telephone, but from an authorized person, for it is he who has real knowledge. And we would change that to a computer now. But yeah, we have to hear from a person who has real knowledge, and that reception of transcendental knowledge through the sound vibration of a real pure person, a Vaishnava, Paramahansa Vaishnava, that transmission is the actual process of knowledge. It's not, it's not something that's, like they would say, that is, illusory because it's imperceptible by the senses. It's perceptible and it's, understandable by the development and a change that happens within, by the deconstruction of the ego and the revelation of the awakening of the soul. These things come about in a natural way, and so the only thing we can do is present our philosophical arguments as best we can, but always, indicating that this has to do with, reception of knowledge in a different way. You don't just study and memorize things, but rather you try to open your heart through practical activities that are laid out for us in, by the Guru, and the 9 processes of devotion, and so many different activities are connected with the description given by Sanatana Goswami and Hari Bhakti Vilas, and so many activities that we can do to awaken the heart within, and that's the real process. So we can just try to enable people to hear the mantra, to begin to feel it within through hearing and tasting prasadam, and all these things add up to an opening of the heart and a beginning, or at least a beginning hearing of the alarm clock, which is, agyata sukriti. You begin to realize there's something there that's beyond the temporary senses. Okay, so Mahaprabhu's opening up here with the fact that we can't understand by rationality or empirical, pursuits of truth. Okay, translation, text 108. The absolute truth is described by the Upanishads and Brahma Sutra, but one must understand the verses as they are. That is the supreme glory in understanding. Upanishad Sahita Sutra Kaheye Tattva Mukye Britye Se Artha Parama Mahatva. So the authorized Upanishads, along with the Sutra, Vedanta Sutra, is the tattva, the truth by, mukya britye, direct understanding, bringing about the understanding of the mahatva, the ultimate glory, parama mahatva, the ultimate glory of the truth. So Shankaracharya presents in Sharirak Bhashya an analysis of the Upanishads in an indirect way, saying that they're indicating impersonalism by their presentation of personalism. That's what they say about Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna says me, I, like that, he means impersonal Brahman. So they go through all the Upanishads and make commentaries like that. And some of the Upanishads lean towards impersonalism, so they're easy to twist, but others are very theistic and are difficult for them to twist, and it is those Upanishads where their hypocrisy is most present. Satara Upanishad, Kathopanishad, Ishopanishad, that's the first, which Srila Prabhupada gave us. Om Purnam Adah Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishyati. So the absolute truth is one, and always that same transcendental personality beyond the material world. This is the first Upanishad. And then all the other Upanishads go on to analyze the Vedas and come to the conclusion of Krishna Upanishad, Gopal Tapanupanishad. Of the 108 Upanishads, 11 are the most important, as previously stated. Okay, text 109. Sripad Shankaracharya has described all the Vedic literatures in terms of indirect meanings. One who hears such an explanation is ruined. Gauna Britte Yeba Bhashya Korila Acharya Tahara Shravane Nasha Hoya Sarva Karya. Gauna Britya, by indirect meanings, his bhasha, his commentary, leads one to nasha, destruction. This commentary of Shankaracharya will destroy the spirit, because the spirit is eternal servant. And the position of the Mayavadis and the Brahmavadis ultimately contains the claim that Krishna is just a material form. He may be, some say, the highest of the material forms, almost spiritual, but ultimately you can't be spiritual unless you're formless, whatever that means. Because, how does an individual experience formlessness? It's just, doesn't make any sense, really. An individual goes into a merging of everything. What does it describe as? It's like sleep or even death. So it's not a very attractive position, but due to the analysis of Shankaracharya, so many of the people who are followers of the Vedas or attempting to follow the Vedas come to that kind of impersonalist conclusion. And before Srila Prabhupada, that conclusion kind of was the all-pervading understanding of what Indian religion is. You know, it's all polytheistic, concluding in, you know, ultimately the impersonal Brahma Jyoti as the supreme absolute. And this was given by Vivekananda in the West, and everybody just accepted, oh, this is what Hinduism is. And the West accepted, so then all the Indians accepted. And when Srila Prabhupada came, he was radical. He showed the, you know, the reality of the theistic understanding of the Vedas, the Upanishads, and he, you know, pointed it out in the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so many other books, you know, to make it clear that the meaning is direct. Bhagavad Gita as it is, it's like direct. It doesn't imply something. You know, Krishna has the capacity to tell things exactly as they are. He doesn't have to, you know, speak in allusions, you know, indicating other things. That's, you know, that's, if he wanted to indicate, you know, the Brahmavadi philosophy, he could have directly done it, but Krishna didn't. He indicated clearly, it is I, you know. Tadvidi, no. Anyway, so many places he says, Mam, Aham, you know, it's me, I'm the one. Okay, and their conclusion that means something else is just illusory, and one who hears such explanations is ruined, is the quotation of what Mahaprabhu has directly said. So next 110, Shankaracharya is not at fault, for he has thus covered the real purpose of the Vedas under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tang hara nahika dosha ishvara agya pana gunartha korila mukhya artha achadiya. Achadiya, he's covered it through gona artha, the indirect meaning, but you know, under the order of Ishvara, the Supreme Lord. So there is nahika dosha, there's no fault in Shankaracharya. This is the order of the Lord. And there's massive purports, you know, citing quotations from the Padma Purana, Lord Shiva telling Parvati about the falseness of the impersonal conclusions of Mayavadi philosophy. Shiva Purana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, told Lord Shiva, in Kali Yuga misled the people in general by propounding imaginary meanings for the Vedas to bewilder them. These are the descriptions of the Puranas. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Mukhya Britti, the direct meaning, is Abhita Britti, or the meaning which one can understand immediately from the statements of dictionaries, whereas Gauna Britti, the indirect meaning, is a meaning that one imagines without consulting the dictionary. For example, one politician has said that Kurukshetra refers to the body, but in the dictionary there is no such definition. Therefore, the imaginary meaning is Gona Britti, whereas the direct meaning found in the dictionary is Mukhya Britti or Abhida Britti. This is the distinction between the two. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that one understand the Vedic literatures in terms of Abhida Britti and the Gona Britti. He rejects, with Gona Britti he rejects, okay. Sometimes, however, as a matter of necessity, Vedic literature is described in terms of Lakshana Britti or Gona Britti, but one should not accept such explanations as permanent truths. So, yeah, the four acharyas of the Vaishnava Sampradayas answered Shankaracharya with Shuddhadvaita, Vishnu Swami, Kevaladvaita. Kevaladvaita is the presentation of Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Vishishtadvaita, and Madhva, the Tattvavada philosophy. Anyway, concluding by the quotation from Lord Shiva that the impersonal conclusion is doomed. An actual Vaishnava cannot tolerate any philosophy that claims God and the living beings to be one and the same. Because that, that is like a direct attack on the the transcendental Supreme Lord. His position as Supreme is his being. So they're trying to destroy, elsewhere Srila Prabhupada said, they try to destroy the body of the Supreme Lord. So it's really a violent attack. One more. Text 111. According to the direct understanding, the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has all spiritual opulences. No one can be equal to or greater than him. Brahma Shabde Mukhya Arte Kahe Bhagavan Chid Aishvarya Paripurna Anurdhva Samana. Well, Brahma Shabde, the absolute truth, is understood by Mukhya Arte, direct meaning, that absolute truth, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, with his Chit Aishwarya, spiritual opulences, and Anurdhva, unsurpassed by anyone, and Samana, not equaled by anyone. Okay. Yeah, this is an important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada quotes, Vedanti tattva vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Mata parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there's no truth superior to me. And there are many other verses indicating this. So what Mahaprabhu is saying is directly given in all the Shastras, or at least so many of the Shastras. And there's no way to juggle words in such a way as to contradict this. It's all, false manipulation of the mental perception of, what is the supposed absolute truth. They're just like imposing their own mental notions onto the works of the scriptures, without reference to, the parampara sampradaya and the method of reception coming down by revelation. So they reject that, actually. Even though they have some notion of understanding Brahman, because they're not acknowledging the position as servants to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they can't penetrate into the depth of real spiritual understanding. They can only understand the flip side of the material coin, and in that way approach the understanding of spirit, and in some cases, reach that basic level of understanding, but only temporarily. Okay, so we'll leave off and start at text 112 tomorrow. Mahaprabhu talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a spiritual individual, and he has a body, opulence, and paraphernalia. So then the Mayavadis cover this whole idea and claim it's all material. Okay. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Sai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha. Jiva